he was the choice offered.
No,
Well,
there were
no. In
20 people
2020,
running.
there was
In
a lot of
2020,
people,
I'm
and he
talking about in
lost the first
2020.
year.
I'm talking about in 2020. He
Yep.
shouldn't have run. The family shouldn't have run.
Right.
The press should have scrutinized him more. But in the end, the voters chose him.
Well,
So
He didn't
After
even
the
do
after the primary, they chose him in the general election, but I just can't help but believe that he was put forward by the powers that be within the party.
Well,
no, the
no, he
powers that be
wasn't.
didn't
I
want
mean,
him. He
he
ran on his
ran.
own.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
ran on his own.
he didn't win Iowa. He didn't win New Hampshire. Jim Clyburn kind of pushed him forward because our party traditionally snaps back. They flirt with the most progressives, and then they kind of tend to go back to the safest choice, which was Biden, right? And he gets in there. I also just quickly don't underestimate. This is a guy who served in a body that had Strom Thurmond, Robert Byrd, and a bunch of people that basically were way past their prime. The staffs ran the office. They wheeled them out for votes. And Joe Biden saw this as like, you can be successful. You can get reelected in these states, even though you're way past your prime. And by the way, look at our leadership. Look at how many committee chairs are in their 80s and really should not still be in office. So, like, our party has a problem beyond Joe Biden.
yeah.
Sean.
The one group of people, and I mentioned this yesterday, so I don't need to go back to my clippable moment. But I will say that the staff around him has been the least accountable group, right? So Anita Dunn, Ron Klain, Jen Psaki, Corinne Jean-Pierre, people who came out publicly and said he's in great shape. I see him all the time. Corinne Jean-Pierre, again, as a guy who owns a lot of you lied and you deceived us or whatever, your priorities are out of whack if you think that what I said was a problem, but you don't have a problem with Corinne Jean-Pierre saying on live television that he runs circles around her. That is a blatant lie.
Yeah. And again, the media now, led by this author, now they're saying, how dare these people engage in a cover up? When they sat there silently while they lied right before their eyes and said, best, run circles around me. Can't keep up with him. He's so amazing. Right on top of that subject matter. And they just accepted those answers on TV sets in the White House briefing room, TV,
Ben
sets
Smith,
in the briefing
as
room.
much as I was joking about his set, he did make some good points. There was all of the, if again, there's this pattern, the Hunter Biden laptop, the cover up here, right? Over and over again, people on the right are called conspiracy theories, wackadoodles, etc. And then suddenly that's, oh yeah, you were kind of right. Over and over again on subject after subject. And the media then turns around, and what I just crushes me on this is that they are literally going to profit from the cover up of these stories and now to pretend that they're part of the solution.
I would say they have not come clean on Biden Inc. They're still lying about Biden Inc.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean,
incredible.
And by the way, none of this is, there's literally evidence after evidence, person after person that has said, here's the deal. This is my conversation with the big guy. Here's emails to prove it. And literally, no, that can't be true.
Yeah. And let me say again to those of you who say, why aren't you talking about Don Jr. and his business deals? Why aren't you talking about Donald Trump's acceptance of the plane? Why aren't you talking about Stephen Miller's threat to get rid of habeas corpus? Those things get talked about plenty, lots of places. What's not talked about is the necessity in our democracy to have a Democratic Party with credibility. Look at the latest AP poll about what people think about the Democratic Party, and to have a news media that has credibility. If you want Donald Trump held accountable, you need to have those two institutions have credibility. And this is not some small thing. We had a commander in chief with severe cognitive decline who was allowed to not only stay in office, but almost be the Democratic nominee because the media and the Democrats engaged in a cover up together. That's why it's important. That's why we're spending so much time on
members of the
this.
Democratic elected officials. I mean, that's the third stool of that leg that they protected him when the party rank file said he's too old.
100%. And when Dean Phillips and other people tried to say it, they were shunned and criticized and often blackballed from the media. One of the few people with the courage to say it was an elected official, and look how he was treated.
That was a delicious video experience. I think you'll agree. Now, what you need to do in return for getting to enjoy that is hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss a thing.